Hey guys, welcome back to another F1 2023 video. I almost forgot the name of the game. Um, we are carrying on with the My Team Career Mode journey for Cross GT Racing. We just came off the Japanese Grand Prix, I'd say eventful, well, not really eventful, but an interesting race for us. We did qualify for pole. A pretty dominant qualifying session. I think we were the fastest through all three qualifying sessions from Q1 to Q3, and we managed to jump the start. Well, not jump the start. We managed to finish or start off really well. Bit of a battle right at the first corner with signs. We managed to get cement our place in P1 for most of the race. Unfortunately, what you're not seeing here is we had a safety car at lap 10, Sonoda spinning out, and then our teammate crashing into him, and both cars losing their front wing. It was a wet weather start to the race, and when the safety car hit, the rain started to stop. All the other cars started coming into the pits. We were P1 when the safety car came out, and then a massive team blunder meant that we went into the pits after a lot of the other cars went in. We came out P22. And then we had to go back in for a second pit stop because our team hadn't anticipated that the track was going to dry up enough for dries and gave us another set of intermediates. We had to go back into the pits and get another set of dries onto the mediums, and when racing resumed, we were P21 after leading from the start of the race. Could have been a really, really easy win for us. Probably a boring video otherwise. But just frustrating that our team screwed up. In the end, though, we did manage to fight our way back through 7 laps of amazing driving, I would do say so myself, to get us all the way up into P5. And importantly, ahead of both Aston Martin drivers. So that keeps us ahead of them in the constructors, but just a frustrating result for the race, which we really dominated at the start. We're now getting ready for the next Grand Prix, but first we have space for a brand new sponsor. So we've now got 3 sponsors on the car. We've kept the other 2. We renewed one of the contracts with them. We've got a brand new sponsor on the team. I think it's pronounced Seven. So they're our third, well, I guess technically our 4th sponsor on the team. So we have our main sponsor that you get every season. Not much else to report on in the break between races there. We did get told before the last race that all of our aero and all of our chassis department upgrades are going to be affected by the regulation changes next season. So as you saw here at the start, we've got a ton of resource points sitting there because we're going to be spending them all to make sure that we adapt all of our parts. We don't lose any progress that we've gained in this first season. We are also going to be changing some car components. I forgot to change I think it was the ICE there. One of the components before we went into qualifying, so we did have to take a bit of a penalty for that. But I feel it's pretty important that we change that, especially considering as we go wide through that corner, considering that we are in, I think it's round 12 now, the Qatar Grand Prix. This is the very first time that I've raced this. I don't think it was in the last game. If it was, I didn't race it. So, yeah, new experience for me in this track. Did some laps in time trial to try and figure out the difficulty level I needed for this race, and also get some practice in. And then in the practice sessions too, just a lot of actual practice, not quick practice if I do sometimes for the tracks I'm familiar with. A lot of actual on-track practice for this track. And as you can see, it paid off. Fastest lap in Q1, 1:23.8, 7 tenths ahead of Ferrari. I was really pushing quite hard on that lap. And I know the other drivers are all going to improve, so we're going to have to get really smart with how we drive the car at this track and how we handle some of these corners. 'Cause some of these corners you kind of need to chain together. There's not really many corners here where it's just, you know, you get that one right and then you race off to the next. You kind of need to have a good line heading into the first corner for the next ones to really for you to maximize your performance and minimize your time. I think we kind of got the hang of it though. The car feels really good. Really good setup. Another really good lap of 1:23.9. So P1 again, but this time instead of being 7th and 10th, we're only 1/10 ahead. So the rest of the field is starting to close that gap. Both Red Bulls through, which is good for their chances at getting the Constructors' Championship. Only 26 points, I think, the difference between Red Bull and Mercedes and the Constructors now. We're at the top. Mercedes, though, still just dominating. Still both ahead of most of the other cars on the grid. Q3, hopefully we can improve our time this time around. Based on what we have done in the last two sessions, if we get a similar time, we're probably going to be closer to the middle of the grid when we start, because I reckon all the other drivers are going to improve quite a bit. But we'll see. Charles Leclerc 1:24.5, so we're still faster than him, but that is just his initial lap. We're out, this is early, we're out sort of at the beginning of the session. His max goes fastest there. I can't remember what the time was when it came up, but we'll see what we can do. George Russell now faster, 1:23.8, so he's now putting in a really good time as we make our way up to the line. Can we beat out George Russell? No, we can't. We're only good enough for 1:24.2, so that puts us in P2, but still almost 4/10 behind George Russell. Second run, hopefully we can get a bit of an improvement, but right off the bat, like the first corner we were slow heading into it, but we were quick coming out, so it's pretty close. We're on par with where we were at before. A couple of tenths there, just taking these corners a bit better this time around. Just, you know, little improvements is all we need. We're purple in Sector 1, so Sector 1 definitely our strong point. We're currently sitting P4, as it looks like someone overtook Russell there, possibly Leclerc. He was close in his last lap. Purple through Sector 2, he's really pushing it through those last few corners there. We managed to gain a ton of time, probably from a mistake that we made in the previous lap. Hopefully we can push everyone out. We crossed the line, and it is only good enough for P2. So Norris sitting in pole position at the moment, 300ths of a second ahead of us. And then Lewis Hamilton does his final run and just smokes all of us. Half a second between Lewis Hamilton and Lando Norris in P2. So we're going to be P3 to start off the Qatar Grand Prix for the first time.
So it's all about speed in today's sprint. Not very many laps and no chance to get ahead on strategy. Who here today has the raw skill to take them to the top? Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting sprint. An immense lap from Lewis Hamilton yesterday puts him on pole position, and Lando Norris lines up alongside. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have the captain, Russell, Sainz, Oscar Piastri, Perez, Verstappen, Leclerc, Fernando Alonso, Gasly, Ocon, Stroll, Albon, Magnussen, Hulkenberg, Tsunoda, Bottas, Joe, Sargent, De Vries and Ralph Boschung. And with preparations almost complete, let's head trackside for today's sprint. Anthony Davidson joins me once again in the commentary box.
After the points finished last race, let's aim to keep that momentum going.
So it is a sprint race weekend here in Qatar. So we are going to have the sprint race first, 7 laps around the track. Straight into it, there was an issue with some of the recording for the first little part of the race, so I have had to cut out the first couple of laps. But basically, Norris has dropped to P5, and we managed to overtake him early on to get up into P2, and we've just been following Hamilton along. We're on softs, he's on mediums, but the Mercedes is actually really hard to catch up to and overtake. Even with the tyre difference, like in theory I should be a lot faster than him, but I just can't.
Okay, so we're leading our teammate by
keep up.
12.4 seconds.
A little bit of nudge in the back there, and we're not going to be able to make a move on him at turn 2. And there's a second gap between us and Sainz in P3, so there's a bit of a gap there. Hamilton's just sort of pulling us along. We're being towed along the slipstream, which is great for us. Keeps us away from the rest of the competition. But the fact that he's on mediums and he's towing us along is concerning in terms of our overall pace. I'm not expecting us to be the fastest, but I did think that we would probably have a little bit of an advantage over him. It just doesn't seem to be happening. It also doesn't help that I'm still relatively inconsistent with my handling on this track. I mean, this is a new track to me, so I'm not going to have it perfect. I haven't done like hours and hours of practice or anything like that. I did some time trial, and we managed to get past Hamilton there. A little bit of a move on him with 3 laps left in the sprint race. So that's huge. All we have to do is try and hold him off somehow, but he's showing so far that we have the pace. So yeah, like I was saying, a little bit of practice and time trial to figure out the sort of the difficulty I need to run at, and then as many laps as I could do in the practice programs to get used to the track, but still a long way to go before we're really comfortable with how we handle the car on this track and our racing line and the apexes and stuff like that. And just like that, Hamilton breezes past us with the help of the DRS. We've got Sainz coming up next to us as well, looking to make a move. We give him the space. We just managed to accelerate enough to stay around the outside of him and jump back into P2. So now it looks like the rest of the pack has caught up to us. Getting ahead of Hamilton actually would have slowed us down because he's faster than me and he was pulling us along. And now, end of lap 6, and he is well clear of us. And he's still pulling away. 2 seconds the gap. Sainz goes past, Russell goes past. I've got Norris creeping up behind me as well, but he's too far back to make a move. We've now jumped back from P2 to P4. We make a move on Russell, and we get back in front of him at least. Back up on the podium. But he makes another move to get ahead of us. But we power around the outside, stay on the racing line, and we manage to keep him at bay for now. A bit wide through the tight left-hand hairpin there. And that gives Sainz a huge gap now. 1.3 seconds, 1.4 the second to the gap to Sainz now. Hamilton, 4 seconds ahead. He's just pulling away. Definitely his track, his race at this point. We'll see how it goes in the Grand Prix. We're around the final corner, and it's a sprint to the end. I think Russell's a bit too far behind to catch up. We're going to deploy the last of our battery and cross the line. P3 here in the sprint race. Good start to our race weekend.
What we asked you to do today, so good job.
So that brings us to the end of the sprint race. P1 going the way of Lewis Hamilton. P2 to Carlos Sainz in the Ferrari, and we claim P3. We get ourselves a podium in the sprint, and it does mean that we will still stay in P3 for the start of the Grand Prix.
Welcome back to Qatar and the Lusail International Circuit. There's a long history of two-wheeled motorsport action here, but in 2021, Lewis Hamilton won out as part of an epic battle that year with Max Verstappen. But who will win out tonight? We're back here in Losail for a track that's 3.34 miles long. There are 16 turns around its unique three-prong shape and just a single DRS zone out of turn 16. It's fast and it's flowing, and there's a good overtaking opportunity with DRS down the long straight and into turn 1. So with the race not far away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. An immense lap from Lewis Hamilton yesterday puts him on pole position, and the smooth operator Carlos Sainz completes the front row. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have the captain, Russell, Norris, Verstappen, Perez, Fernando Alonso, Oscar Piastri, Gasly, Leclerc, Ocon, Albon, Stroll, Magnussen, Hulkenberg, Tsunoda, Bottas, Joe, De Vries, Sargent, and Ralph Boschung. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track where preparations are underway. With the Grand Prix nearly upon us, Anthony Davidson is by my side once again to offer his perspective. Let's talk about the captain. What do you make of their performance so far this season?
Well, the atmosphere within that team seems very positive at the moment. Everyone seems like they're in great spirits and having a lot of fun doing what they do, and that's definitely contributed to the performances we've seen.
Okay, we've got that relief of having points on the board finally, so let's keep that form up and get another top 10 finish today, please.
Another top 10 finish shouldn't be too much of an issue. We've been doing that pretty consistently this season. Even with a track that's new to us, we should still be fine for a top 10 finish. Starting on the hards, going to the mediums, going to go for a later pit stop. Hopefully Hamilton can drag us along like he did in the sprint race. A really good start from us. We managed to jump Sainz off the start and tucking in behind Lewis Hamilton and that slipstream. Lando Norris manages to jump up into P2 where he would have started had it not been for the sprint race. Sainz gets back in front of us up into P3, so we end up losing out of position there. Sainz does too, and Norris the big winner there, jumping up into P2 as Russell tries to make a move around the inside, and we go around the outside again like we did in the sprint race to stay ahead of him. It's going to be pretty tough on these hards to start the race, but we're playing the long game here. 20 laps, and if we can at least keep up with these guys now, hopefully when we go into the mediums we'll have the advantage. Oh, Russell making a big move there, a little bit of contact with us, but he manages to make that move stick, and he's managed to open up a pretty good gap. We go wide, and I think there's a little bit of contact there with Max. We do get a warning for that collision, so I'm not sure if maybe he's got some damage. So we have a look. We'll take a look here, and I can see right there is where technically we did collide with him, but the wonders of video games, it shows that we didn't even touch him. We got a warning for a collision with Max that in all actuality the video evidence shows didn't happen at all. Oh, a little bit of a slide we hit. We went right over a lot of those cubes there, and we hit the yellow parts off to the side and bumped the car off the track a little bit. The air got underneath and we lost the back end a bit, so that's not really what we want, and that has had some massive repercussions for us. We're now 2.5 seconds to Russell. Piastri now making quick work of us on that DRS straight as we begin lap 4 here in Qatar. So it's been 3 laps and we've fallen from P3 to P6. We are on the hards, so I'm not panicking too much yet. Hopefully some of these drivers that are on the mediums will be going to the hards when they go into their pit stop, and then we'll have the advantage when we go to the mediums. Unless they run long on the mediums and then go into the softs, then it's probably going to be more of the same, and it'll just be damage control for the rest of the race. But for now, just doing our thing, just trying to navigate this track as best as we can. The front runners just pulling away pretty easily there. Alonso making quick work of us thanks to the DRS. Oh, and a big slide there heading into turn 1. I'm not sure what happened there. Leclerc probably had a bit of a scare there. He was right behind us looking to, looks like he was trying to make a move up the inside there. I don't know if there was contact and we got pushed, or if that was just, we just lost the back end. I feel like we probably just lost the back end a little bit there. Went in a little bit too quick and tried to carry too much speed into that corner. But yeah, we're definitely missing apexes now. The hards should have been warmed up by now, but still having some issues with them. So could be a bit of a hard race for us today. Looking to go pretty tight around that corner there, but we think better of it with Leclerc trying to make a move around the inside. We give him the space and let him go. So we've dropped another position. We now got Verstappen behind us. He's also on the hards, but he is in that Red Bull, and it's going to be pretty hard to defend against when, as you can see, we can't even keep the car in a decent line on the track. We did have a different strategy come up for us. I think we ended up sticking with our current plan. May have changed it, I can't actually remember. I wasn't paying attention. I was too busy looking at Leclerc trying to make that move as Verstappen makes a move on us while I'm too busy talking about Leclerc. Thanks to that DRS. Every time we've hit that DRS straight, we've been outside of DRS to the car in front, but we've always been within the DRS range of the car behind us. So we are essentially just towing everyone along and letting them leapfrog us, and giving them a bit of a boost to try and catch up to the guys in front. We're finally in a bit of a battle that's not one-sided by the looks of things. Verstappen on the hards, just like us, and that battle carried on for that whole lap right through here until the pit lane. We're even racing down pit lane. So, you know, I was looking to do what Sebastian Vettel did in China all those years ago and overtake people in the pit lane. Didn't work, but that's right. We head into the pits, going on to a new set of medium tyres. Hopefully now we'll have a bit of an advantage over the rest of our competitors. Back out on the track behind Verstappen, and hopefully he can pull us along a little bit and help us catch up to the rest of the pack. But we will have to wait and see. We still have to get these tyres warmed up. But the mediums, as I've said plenty of times before, not just in this game, but also in previous in F1 21, mediums are definitely my favourite tyre. Like the softs, a lot of grip and really quick, but I feel more comfortable on the mediums. I feel like I can get more out of the car on medium tyres than I can on softs. So feeling pretty good about these tyres now. Lap 10, so we're almost halfway through this race. We managed to overtake a bunch of cars in the pits, so we're ahead of Perez and the other Red Bull. Verstappen is ahead of us. Our teammate Boschang in between myself and the world champion. He moves out of the way and lets us go. He's on softs. He must be running pretty long on those softs, unless he went into the pits early. So that's probably not helping him. Those tyres will be pretty worn by now. And he will be looking to go into the pits very soon, I hope, to go onto some medium tyres. I'm not sure if it's really going to affect his finishing position. As you can see, we're at the end of lap 10. We've already opened the gap to Boschang by like 3 seconds. Perez is behind us by quite a bit as well. A lot more cars into the pits, which is great for us. We get a fastest lap of 1:26.4. So fastest on the mediums, and we have had some of the front runners on softs. So we've got some really good pace in this car. Hopefully we can use that to capitalise and get further up the order. We are staying within 1.5 seconds to Verstappen now. He's being held up a little bit by Alonso, which is helping our cause a little bit. We go purple through sector 1, which is great signs for us. If we can convert that same sort of pace into sector 2 and 3, then we should be able to start moving our way up the grid. But it's going to be pretty tough. Verstappen, we've managed to catch up a bit. He's now only 1.1 seconds ahead of us. It was 1.4, I think, or 1.5 partway through the lap. So we have gained some time on him. Lando Norris with the fastest lap. And we cannot take it back. A 1:26.364. That was the exact same time that Norris just did to get the fastest lap. So we have got the fastest lap. We are the fastest car on track at this point, with Lando Norris and his McLaren. So that is very promising stuff. So that we do have the pace. Frustrating though that because he got that time first, he's got the fastest lap. We have to try and somehow improve that, so we can hopefully get another bonus point out of this race. We got purple for sector 2, which we needed considering we went red in sector 1, so we're slower in sector 1. We have gained quite a bit of time on Max in the last couple of laps. Now only half a second behind. We're finally going to be able to get some DRS off these guys. Alonso ahead of Max, he's towing him along. We are getting towed along as well, so we're not going to gain any time on the two of them really. But we are, however, going to be able to gain some time on the people ahead of Alonso potentially. We go around the outside of Verstappen and put the hammer down, and we're side by side with the world champ. It's going to break a little bit later. We've got the inside line. We make the move, stick. We are now ahead of Max after like 3 laps of trailing behind him. We missed the apex completely on that corner. Open up the door for him to try and make a move, and he just doesn't have the... I guess he's just not in the right position to be able to do it. So we go back to the replay. So here's the move on Max, but he manages to stay alongside us. He's got the speed. He may have deployed some battery there, but he didn't have the line, and so he had to give us the space, let us go. And we have now moved our way up into, I think it's P6 now. So still a very respectable position for us right now. Lap 14 as we come around the last couple of corners there. Oh, we hit the yellow curbing and lose the back of the car and go into a bit of a slide, which doesn't help us. We lose so much time to Alonso, and we give Max all the chance to catch up and overtake us on that DRS straight. Piastri looking to make a move with the DRS, but we just moved across to the middle of the track, so he was forced to the outside, making it hard for him to overtake us. So we're back in behind Verstappen again. Hopefully we can use him to tow us along and catch back up to Alonso. But it seems more like he's just pulling away from us at this point, and catching up to Alonso using the slipstream of the Aston Martin to pull himself up. And we're just kind of left behind. We are still within DRS range, so we're still in with a chance. And some of these corners we can carry a little bit more speed through them than they can. DRS activated now. We are, and even with the DRS though, we're losing time to Verstappen. We're also losing time to Piastri, so he's actually gaining on us, which isn't good, especially considering he's on hards. But he could also be deploying some of that battery as well. Lap 16, so we're 3/4 of the way through the race now. Still up in the points, P7. Still a reasonably good finishing position for us. Alonso and that Aston Martin in P5. And I think Stroll is outside of the points at this point. So it's really just a one-on-one battle between Cross GT Racing and the Aston Martin. But we are currently ahead of Aston Martin by a few points. I think it was something like 16 or 14 points in the constructors. So we are, we are ahead by a little bit. So hopefully we can sort of maintain a decent gap to Alonso and not lose any more positions, or even better, get ahead of him, so we definitely guarantee that we're going to open that gap up on the Aston Martin. As Verstappen makes a really good move while I was talking there on Alonso. So that's dropped Alonso down. Hopefully now we can keep up with Alonso and get some DRS on him. But also means that he's taking points away from him Aston Martin aren't going to be able to gain as much if the race would have finished right now. Piastri, sorry, before also looking to make a move on us at turn 1. Doesn't have enough space or speed to be able to make that move stick, so we stay ahead of him once again. We are slowly making gains on Alonso here. A pretty good little battle going on here for P5. Well, Max is pulling away now. We've gained tons of time on Alonso. We go around the outside at the final corner. Maintained some good speed, and we've passed him before he even got to the DRS zone. We still have DRS as well, but Alonso also has DRS on Verstappen, so he uses that to much greater effect than we used ours, and he gets back in front of us. We've made a nice little move around the inside of turn 1, and we get the job done on Alonso. We are now ahead of the lead Aston Martin, up into P6. Hopefully we can just maintain this pace and keep Alonso at bay. But the tyres are starting to fall off a little bit. I'm starting to lose a little bit of grip. It's becoming harder to get around some of these corners. Harder to keep the car in line. Little slides and times where the back end is kicked out a little bit. All starting to pick up a little bit more. But we're doing pretty well. We have opened the gap to Alonso. We're closing in on Max. We're actually closing in on him by a lot now, using that slipstream. So we've had a really good run through Sector 3. And we're now right behind Max. We've got the DRS, but he's got a Red Bull, which kind of counts against everything else. And then even behind us, Alonso's about to get passed by Perez, and I think it's Leclerc behind him in the other Ferrari, looking to make moves on him as well. So hopefully they can put some moves on Alonso and push him back and take some points away from him. But we are all over the back of Verstappen. Lap 19, 2 laps to go. Verstappen's got to try and hold us off, try and keep us at bay. It's Monza all over again, where we had a multi-lap, pretty heated battle with Verstappen. Pretty back and forward. Overtakes each lap, I think it was. So just carrying on our grudge match from there. Verstappen, in all fairness, should be up the front fighting. I think it's Hamilton still at the front, but he's stuck back in P5 battling little old me and little old Cross GT Racing. But we're doing a pretty good job of keeping up with him. Only 3/10 behind him. Norris, on the other hand, 7.5 seconds ahead. That front pack just pulling away, and by the looks of the things on the map, George Russell's up there in P3, so it could be a double podium for Mercedes if things stay as they are, with the last lap just beginning. We're still all over the back of Verstappen. Haven't been able to make a move on him since we made the move in lap 18. So hopefully we can do something here and get up into P5 and gain another couple of points. But it's pretty tough going. The tyres are really gone now, and it's getting a lot harder to maneuver the car. So we're doing what we can and just trying to force a mistake out of Verstappen. I don't know if we're going to be able to outdrive him. We might just have to keep getting right behind him, and hopefully he makes a little bit of a mistake we can capitalise on. But it's going to be tough. Not long left in this race, only a few corners left to go. Can we catch up to him? We're making pretty good time here through Sector 3. Oh, nice, good run there. We're right up behind him. We're using some battery to try and keep pace with him. And heading to the final corner, we do this pretty well. Onto the power and the battery. We're going to use the DRS. Oh, we're getting close. Coming up to the line. But we just can't quite do it. And Verstappen marginally beats us there. P6, still a really good result for us. And we finished ahead of both Aston Martins, which is the main thing. Verstappen getting driver of the day. But what a battle that was at the end.
And Mercedes have pulled off a great victory here today. Anthony Davidson, how do you think they were able to set themselves apart today?
I really feel the track layout combined with the track temperatures we saw today suited their car. These cars come alive when the tyres are just at the right temperature, and the driver did a great job managing that as well. They just look so comfortable out there. It's like anything, it always looks so easy when it all just clicks.
After an excellent performance at the Grand Prix, I'm sure there'll be plenty of celebrations tonight amongst the Mercedes team, and they certainly deserve it.
So Lewis Hamilton picking up the win here, starting on pole. Never really looked like he was going to lose this race. Mercedes getting another double podium for their team. George Russell taking P3. Sainz still keeping Ferrari up there on the podium, getting P2. I'm pretty sure Sainz has actually outperformed Leclerc all season. So definitely some talks to be had behind the scenes in Ferrari. We end up finishing... what? Oh no, never mind. That's the weekend result. So we finished the weekend P5 ahead of Verstappen, but only because we gained more points in the sprint race. Whereas if we were to take a look at the race results, the Grand Prix results, it would show Verstappen in P5 and we in P6. As we take a look at driver standings now, Verstappen's lead on the championship has dropped a bit. Russell, now 19 points behind Verstappen. He's gained a few points, but Hamilton's gained quite a few. He was about 40-something points behind. Now he's only 27, so it's now still pretty tight at the top of the table there. Sainz in P4, so definitely outperforming his teammate Charles Leclerc. In the constructors, Mercedes pull away from Red Bull now. It is a 62-point gap. There's still 4 races left in the season though, so they could still take it, but it's probably going to be pretty tough now. And we've opened the gap on Aston Martin. It is now a 27-point gap we have over them in the Constructors' Championship. The rivalry against Ocon's pretty much done. We're only 1 point off, 2 races left. I guess technically 1 race now. All the cash coming through. We got all of the sponsor money coming in, so that's huge for us. We're going to keep on pushing through until the end of the season. Hopefully we can get some big bucks out of the Constructors title run as well. But that brings us to the end of this race weekend, Sprint and Grand Prix weekend here in Qatar, my very first race weekend here. Interesting experience racing here on this track. A lot of fun. Obviously with the aesthetic, it reminds me a lot of the Bahrain Grand Prix. Handles a lot different though. But still, P6. Tough race, but we came away with a really good result. I'm pretty happy with how we did. No mishaps this time around like we had in Japan. So still a good result. And we finished at Aston Martin, which is our main objective now. Staying ahead of them and hopefully gaining P5 in the Constructors by the end of the season. If you did like the video, leave a like. Let me know in the comments what you thought. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, please do subscribe. It would really help me out a lot. And I will see you guys all in the next one.